Hello, and welcome to Greet the Week. I am Mona Duncan, and today's topic is on asking questions and seeing them as your friend and how they can really help us to understand life and situations and ourselves and people better. So we're going to look here at making questions our friend and using questions effectively for more information. Because although sometimes we think we know something, but there's always a little more. So for every great quest that has ever been manifested into being is because someone asked an unanswerable question, or they did not stop at the first answer, but kept digging deeper and kept finding more. And it kind of reminded me of Edgar A. Guest's poem. It's a 3-stanza poem on somebody said it couldn't be done. And so he starts off with, somebody said it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it could, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he had tried. So he waded right in with a trace of the grin on his face. If he worried, he hid it. And he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. So I want us to look at the fact that in asking questions of ourselves, of others, of situations, that we do it in a joyful attitude and also with expecting some possibilities that we hadn't seen yet. So here we are looking at, we want to go for reality. We want to go for truth, but the way we see things is kind of clouded and kind of like an illusion. So questioning is an art. It's not to grill either ourselves or someone else. It's not to grill, but it is simply to gain more information. Questioning is to explore possibilities. What else could it be? What else is the possibility of? Questioning helps us to find out who we really are. I know sometimes we think we're this, and then we realize, well, I'm more than that, and we are. And to self-evaluate, which is a type of questioning, is to find a mixture of resolutions and decisions and conclusions and other ideas, and maybe write all of them down or have them in on the back burner that may come in later to fill in. Asking questions is a peaceful way of opening our heart for growth. We have a couple of people in the waiting room. Let me allow them.
Oh, good.
And Sue is here.
Oh,
hello,
good.
hello, Jerry and Sue. Good to have you.
Oh.
And so we want to, questioning also is to discover treasures, that there's going to be a treasure there. And to question well is to pierce the illusion, because we begin to see something that the fog begins to clear up. We begin to see something that we had not seen before. And then also, whenever we receive a good answer, regard it as being cursory, as in there's more that's going to grow or more that's going to formulate. Okay. And then also, to questioning keeps us from filling in the gaps too soon. As we give a little wait time there, again, we may see something. And also, in the process of questioning, we never want to deny the life lessons that life gives us organically, that we allow things to take place naturally and to see how the outcome is. So what about that, taming that childish behavior? Admittedly, an inquisitive child with insistent demands of but why or but why not can be very irritating. But it's realizing that the child's persistence is asking about life, not only about life, but they're asking about our consistency. Because if we are changing all too often, that one day something is okay and the next day it isn't, we're showing that we can be inconsistent. And so the the child or the student's continual questions can be a way of knowing if we are consistent or not, if we're just. But then as we begin to acknowledge that the student does not yet understand reality, who among us does, we can breathe deep and kindly and patiently regroup. And we can lovingly ask a question in fun, not sarcasm, such as, are your ears not working today? Was I speaking a foreign language? You want to do something that makes it, a little bit more flexible. And in the process, negotiate with the child. The answer may be no today, but another time, another place, another planet, another universe, we might can work it in. And empathizing with their disappointment and change the subject. Because always remember, action is the distraction. And we don't want to lead it to an argument or to disconnecting the relationship. And this process works well with adults also to kind of change the question. So we want to be inquisitive and we want to always be kind. Isidore Rabi, who was a Nobel Prize winner in physics, recounted the time whenever he was his mother. Every day when he came home from school, she would always ask him, did you ask good questions today? And so it really set him up to be one that was always seeing what else are the possibilities? What else can I ask? What else is potential? But in being inquisitive and kind, we want to ask in a non-judgmental way and continually self-evaluating our own self, such as, could I dig deeper or should I dig deeper? Or can I explain myself easier? Or can I be more patient? And realizing that there are no stupid or bad questions, although there may be times that we want to think, oh no. And then I know personally, I find most issues, whether explaining or trying to understand, become less stressful as I am willing to stand under another person's point of view and listen to them rather than automatically trying to lord my point of view over theirs, as we can begin to be more connecting. So in Edgar Guest's poem, here is stanza 2. Somebody said, oh, you'll never do that. Or you may think, oh, I can never learn to ask questions in a way that leads to more dialogue and more understanding and more connectedness. Somebody said, oh, you'll never do that. At least no one has ever done it. But he took off his coat and he took off his hat, and the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With a lift of the chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quit it, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did. So looking at some things that may seem undoable, but seeing them in a different light. And it kind of goes hand in hand with perception. And our perception is the way we see something, but it may not be. There's always more dimensions. So looking at psychology, psychologist Albert Ellis developed rational emotive behavior and had an ABC chart. And in his ABC chart, there was always an activating event that led to a belief about the event or about the statement or about whatever was going on. And then the C part was the consequences of the activating events and how it affected us and others and so forth. So the amateur part here, Mona Duncan's Choice Theory Edition, and looking at adding to DEF with the activating event, believing, looking and seeing what my beliefs are about the activating event, and then assessing whether or not the consequences of that situation was effective or ineffective. And so I add D with it, and then I want to dialogue with myself. And is my perception is my perception accurate, or do I even know? Because it's maybe something completely different. And am I putting labels on something that I haven't even explored before? And then continually to evaluate current behavior with the way I behaved the last time. And of course, that current behavior, according to Dr. Glasser, is total behavior, which is the thoughts we think, the actions we take, the emotional feelings that we feel, as well as the physiology feelings that we feel, as in maybe holding our breath or responding in anger or having the blood pressure go up. And then as we really evaluate all of our behavior, and then we can forecast a change in the weather, a change in the way that we are seeing something, a change in the way that we will respond to it, and always wanting to respond to the need rather than reacting to the activating event. And then we have psychiatrist Carl Jung and his shadow side and our shadow side. Basically, what the shadow side is that it is a part of us that we really want to keep hidden, even though sometimes it slips out. It is that less desirable action or attitude that we display that can embarrass us and can even, be the result of other people maybe looking down on us or not appreciating us as much. But as we use choice theory to stop being Peter Pan, remember, he didn't want to grow up. He wanted things to keep on just as they were. So we need to speak to, now this shadow side, it can be evil, but more than likely, it's just something that we are not proud of. It's something that we really don't want to be on display, like a know-it-all or anger or, things like that. Or and so we want to speak to our acting out juvenile that we are and conclude that we really do want to grow up. So here are some thoughts, some situations. I have two situations and they're both negative. It's not like the chart of Dr. Glasser's where we have situation A negative and situation B more effective. But this one is just two different situations that I've thought about and that has happened in my life, and some self-evaluating thoughts that I questioned myself. So situation A is speaking out rashly, harshly, angrily, making demands, knowing all, whatever. But the questions that I ask myself, try to go gently there, be sane, sensible, and loving. So I ask, do you, and this is something that, you could ask yourself sometime, do you see that as a less desirable trait? Do you want to maintain that manner of responding? Do you want to keep on doing that? You want it to become even more of a habit? Now, I hear you answered yes. Do you want to keep it? Because you see, our creative mind is always listening to everything we say, to everything we think. It's always giving us, it's always taking note of whether to, anyway, it's always taking note of. And so it's asking us, I heard you say yes. Did you want to respond in that manner? Do you want to keep on acting that way? Are you proud of putting someone in their place? Does your proclaiming that's just the way I am, does it bring peace to you? Does trying to explain it away eradicate the less than desirable trait? Are you willing to own it? If you do own it, what can you do with it? Does owning it lower your blood pressure? Yeah, because it puts us back in control. It puts us back to a softer side of who we are, so in turn, we could project a softer side to others and be more understanding of. So, situation B, or you flubbed up a presentation, whether it was minor or whether it was major. And I remember one time we put on a play, local theater, put on a play. And there was one person in particular that and all of us had small parts, okay? But anyway, it was about a 45-minute play. And anyway, this one person was just so self-depreciating and so ragging on themselves because they had messed up the whole thing. And you know, that's kind of pretty self-righteous thinking, because of everyone there, of all the little small parts, one person is not that important to mess up the whole thing. So some sane, sensible self-dialogue we can have. Go ahead and think this. I ruined the whole show. Nobody liked my presentation. Am I too needy? Do I take things too personally? Why do I need the praise of others so much? Sometimes we have to get in there and evaluate. Why do I think I'm so important? And you are important. You're just not that important. Remember, we're just like everybody else. Even that most irritating person, times we can be just like them. So we are important. We're just not that important that everything has to cater to our wants or wishes. What do I think of my presentation? Did I do my best? Now, if we can get to that point of, am I doing my best? Did I do my best? Then we maybe can be getting to the point of being a little bit kinder on us. Am I content with my work thus far? How can I improve it next time? And here we're already building up that energy of believing that I don't have to quit this forever because I'll give it a next time. And I'm willing to let go and move on. And it's only as we're willing to grow, willing to change, willing to see things differently, willing to, until what has become so concrete that it is an absolute fact, that even in taking that absolute fact as being concrete, we don't want to beat anyone over the head with it because they may not see it as an absolute fact. Anyway, brings us to the ending of and Edgar A. Guest's third stanza. That when we think we can't do anything, like respond differently, I like his third stanza. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you one by one all the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle it in with a lift of the chin, take off your coat and go to it. And start to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it. And it's not that it cannot be done. It's just that you may feel uncomfortable in doing it. And so, do you think you can change? I think you can. Thanks for being here, and many blessings.